All right, dealing with tenant issues. Why don't you take over on this one, Jeffrey?
So yeah, dealing with tenant issues, and oftentimes these tenant issues are broken rules that violate the lease contract. For example, having roommates, and it's not always a violation. I mean, we do have a roommate addendum that we can actually put it in writing and actually add a roommate or take a roommate off in as long as the security deposit remains or they work it out, but we actually let them know, hey, until everybody's vacated the property, nobody's getting a return of security deposit, so you all need to work it between yourselves. But we have had many times unauthorized roommates where people move in and then we have to let them know, hey, if you guys don't fix this and submit an application, because you just saw the application process that we use, we need to verify that this new roommate that's coming in that's unauthorized, we want to give them a chance to make it right. So it's like, okay, submit an application, pay the fee, give us your ID, give us all of the documentation that we need to validate you as a authorized person to be living there. Because if in the future we need to evict, yeah, we still do a unknown persons to try to like when we sue to recover possession. We need to have that, but we want to have everybody named that's actually living there, and so it's very important for us to actually get their names and actually have the documentation to prove that they are actually paying to live there. And of course, people sneaking their pets in. Unfortunately, it just is what it is when it comes to that. A lot of people are just, hey, I don't want to pay it. I'm just going to sneak my animal in. So we do have, penalty fees that get added on, and it's always addressed as unpaid rent, and we have had some excessive noise with some residents that we've had to address, especially when we're managing multifamily properties where the walls are shared with other neighbors. And dealing with that is a nuisance 3 day, or I should say a notice to comply. 3 day notice is not a notice to pay or quit. But we've also had issues with late pays, and then we have to enforce the late fees, where the resident will be some residents in the past we've had that actually get in the habit of paying late, and then it's like, yes, we have to collect the late fee, and that balance, if they don't pay it, starts to grow, and then it becomes an issue after a few months of unpaid late fees. And it's like, okay, either you got to pay or we're going to issue a 3 day notice to pay or quit, because any collections that we make get applied first to the late fees first, so their rent is unpaid as in the going forward months. So it's like, hey, if you got a $50 late fee or a $25 late fee, we collect that when they make the payment first, and so their rent is short 25 or $50. And if it goes over a few months, then now you're getting to $150. And it just depends. We've had some residents that actually are having, you know, real life issues that they are honest and that they want to pay on time, but they've had a little hiccup, maybe their car broke down or whatever. And in those situations, we want to work with people. It's not like we're heartless. We want to actually help people out, but we also do enforce the rules to make sure that they themselves are being honest with us. So, enforcing late payments, and then we've also had some residents in like out here in Houston. I have seen unauthorized painting, and actually it did happen to us in San Bernardino too, where just like really super dark colors. They basically you have to do like two tints of primer on the wall to try to be able to repaint the wall a lighter color because they're using black paint or a really super dark red or whatever. So we do inspections frequently. Like usually at least once a quarter. And if there's any maintenance issue, we usually ask our maintenance folks to take pictures also of whatever it was that we had repaired. And usually that'll give us an opportunity to see like what's on the walls and all that. And then, parking, disabled vehicles, that's really kind of, harkens back to that apartment complex that Omar and I owned in 2013 when we bought it. We had some residents after we owned it for a couple of years where they had a disabled vehicle, and then we had to basically have it towed off the lot. And I had that happen over here in Houston too, where I had it towed off the lot, and it was people were screaming and yelling, and it's just like, well, hey, I've given you, multiple warnings over several months, and those warnings have turned from verbal to written, and it's been more than one. So I had all the documentation, and we just let them know, hey, it's going to happen, and when the tow truck company comes, it's like, yeah, you can cuss me out or whatever, but you've been warned. So that's the thing about dealing with some tenant issues, and also just of course dealing with problem tenants. If you can go to the next slide, Omar. you know,
Yeah, just a couple of things I want to chime that is kind of California specific here. You guys should know in California, the laws on security deposits have changed. You can now only accept 1 month's of rent on security deposits. That's fairly recent that law went into effect. Um, and also on pets too, you have in California emotional support animals. And if people have emotional support animals, you can't turn away applicants because of that. Because that would be considered discrimination out there. So just got to be, and if they do have an emotional support animal, you can't charge any kind of extra, deposit or an additional rent if it's an emotional support animal. So just a couple of things there to consider on that.